Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Drew Davis, and I want to welcome you to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll actually improve your vision the longer you listen. I want to take a moment to thank you for joining me today, and I've got some great information lined up for you. So relax and tune in, because we're about to begin. Hey everyone, this is Drew, and I want to welcome you back to today's session where we are going to talk about something that I've had on the top of my mind for a little bit, something I've been needing to do, and that's publish an episode about this topic here. I've entitled it Need To versus Going To. So we're going to have a little fun because this is one of those things where when you think about it, need to, it's a phrase, it's a part of all of our lives, right? Everyone it seems you talk to, we all have full plates. Most people are overwhelmed. There are ways to overcome overwhelm, but a lot of people are overwhelmed and they've got this to-do list that's a mile long, and so there's so many things that need to get done. Right? So what do we find ourselves doing? We find ourselves actually kind of creating this almost like an infinitely long to-do list that we never really plan to complete. It's just like a list of good intentions, right? And it stays that way until you decide that it's important enough to act on. So why am I picking on this? It's because it's a part of how I'm learning how to see better. I think it's critical that we all learn to analyze our own habits, as well as the phrases and the sayings and the habits and the thought patterns that are being conveyed to us from others. You see, I have a strong belief that we all have the ability to influence others or be influenced by others. I mean, we see it every day in every way in the world, right? We've got friends that we hang out with that you might behave a certain way when you're around them, or people might change up their attitude or behavior when they're around you. That's super easy to see in real life when you think of kids in a classroom, right? They'll behave one way for the main teacher, but all bets are off when it's time for that substitute teacher to come in, right? Because the kids tend to be a lot more unruly. So we can influence and be influenced. And one of the ways that I intend to influence is to not be influenced by that phrase, need to. Case in point, like I said, we all get busy. We all have stuff we need to get done. But in more recent instances, I've been having casual conversations with people that are telling me about the things that they need to get done. And what I've also found is myself picking up that same phrase and terminology. And it's not that it's so ill-intended. It's just that it's one of those slight little drifts off course, because it's the phrase that we use. The phrase is indecisive, you see. The phrase need to never puts any urgency. That's like someday. Help me find someday on a calendar. Help me find the due date to need to, right? So let's talk about this. I think that the difference between need to and going to has to do with, your wish list and your list of intentions, right? So if you really need to do something, if you're seriously gonna get it done, then the language has to change. See, words are very powerful. And when you change that need to going to, now there's a different level of intention behind it. Let's say case in point, right? I'm a family man. I get busy with my 3 kids and my wife and kind of trying to keep my family happy and everything going. And I'm a businessman, and there's a lot going on in my world on a day-to-day basis. So what I find is it doesn't appear to me that there's all this luxury time that I used to have. And, I've accumulated quite a few friends through my lifetime, a lot of great, wonderful people in my world. But you know what? My core, my nucleus is where my time and my focus is spent. So it's really easy to find myself not being proactive to reach out and keep up with old friends anymore, right? It's nothing intentional, no love loss. It's just a focus shift, right? So here's a case where with me, I've tend to be I'm the guy that can remember, my childhood friends' childhood phone numbers, right? I remember birthdays like the back of my hand. I don't need, any calendar alarm or social media reminder for me to know when, my friends' birthdays are, right? So that's always been a thing for me that's important. But what I found is that as I get more and more busy, it seems there's less and less time to reach out to people. So instead of saying, I need to do a better job of keeping in touch with old friends, I'm going to give them a call for their birthday, right? Or give them a call if there's an occasion or something special or reasonable coming up that's, kind of helps to break that ice, right? So that's just one example. I used to be a night owl, and it'd be easy for me to say in early morning, I need to get more sleep. But until I was willing to say, I'm going to set a cutoff time for when I'm going to make myself go to bed, that I didn't see any real change, right? So the two go hand in hand. And what I'm really challenging everyone to do is to make sure that every need to, if you find yourself in the habit, or you catch yourself saying, I need to do this, I need to do that, and it's happening more often than not, every need to should be followed by a going to. Because that's how you put that intention into action. Need to just acknowledges something that may be important in your life, may not be important in your life, right? But once you decide to, once you say, I'm going to, and put that out there, that's the difference between acknowledgement and activity. And activity leads to accomplishment. Acknowledgement doesn't really do anything but put it on the radar, okay? It's a step versus someone that doesn't recognize they need to make a change, but put that going to behind it. Right? So, for those of us that say, hey, gosh, I need to, exercise more, right? Well, then follow up that saying by saying, I'm going to take the stairs this week when I go into work, right? And it doesn't have to be that you're trying to take over the world, right? You don't all of a sudden, or you're not all of a sudden in touch with all your friends if you call them for their birthday, but it keeps a 2-year gap from going to 3 years. It keeps a 5-year gap from going 10 years. And those are little things that can make a difference. It's understanding the value and the magnitude of the compound effect, right? Okay. Maybe you feel a little soft around the midsection, but you don't like to exercise, and you got some things that you cling to with regards to your food choices. Maybe you feel like you need to lose 10 pounds. If you feel like you need to, then maybe you just say, hey, I'm going to analyze some of my choices that I'm regularly making with regards to my food or my physical activity, and see where I can make some adjustments, and then get even more definitive than that, right? I'm going to make a stance to make a more conscious food choice all week long next week, or, something activity related all week long next week. Making these baby steps. Once you shift from need to going to, it's just a whole different perspective. I could sit and need all day. Have you ever talked to someone that just needs to make more money? It's kind of ironic, because more often than not, you don't hear that person share what they're going to do to make more money. Everybody needs more money or needs to make more money, but that's like needing a raise. One of my mentors taught me, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, life does not respond to need. Life responds to deserve. And when you think about it, I mean, it's a little bit blunt, it's a little bit brutal to look at it that way, but that's the truth of the matter. Life responds to need. Life responds to deserve, not to need, right? So we want to make sure that we're clear on that. And so if you can need something all day, and you're not necessarily going to do it or going to get it by just needing, right? So I would say that anyone out there finding themselves kind of falling into the lull of, I need to do that. I need to, pay those bills. I need to call those folks. I need to do these things. As long as they need to, they're just going to keep needing, right? And things that keep needing become needier. And it doesn't really change anything. So I am here to encourage you all to take action. Talk about what you're going to do, right? Don't tell me, show me, right? And that's how we're able to take control of our lives at a very basic level, because we start to make decisions about some of the noise, right? We all have to-do lists. We all have things calling for our attention. Pick me, pick me, pick me. But you're the one in charge. So don't just need to do all these things. Get the things done that really are important. Change the phrase, change the terminology that you use. I don't need to do anything. I'm going to do something specific. And that's where you'll find that your activity and your intentions are going to be further aligned or better aligned, and you're going to get a lot more accomplished that way. So that's just one of these simple, short tidbits I thought I'd leave everyone with for the course of the week. Need to versus going to. Analyze it, because we can all need to make a few more bucks. We all need to lose a couple pounds. We all need to exercise a little bit more. We all need to keep in better touch with each other. We all need to be nicer to one another, love one another better. But until we decide and make a decision that we're going to, then it's all just talk. So with that, I told you what I needed to do, and I declared that I was going to make sure I kept this short and sweet and to the point, and I'm going to urge you and push you a little bit more to do that sort of thing. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling pretty motivated, go out and take some action. Go tag a friend where you've heard them saying that. Be on the lookout for that "I need to blankety blank." And challenge someone. You know, you're almost able to effectively mentor a friend and kind of be their accountability partner. Hey, don't tell me what you need to do. Tell me what you're going to do, because that's where you start to possess the power to really take that action and do something with it that you can get a tangible result when you're going to do something and you set out and actually do it. Needing to doesn't really move the needle. So I'm raising my hand, being the first to declare that I've caught myself saying it. And that's one of the things we have to do, is not just have reflection on ourselves to be able to see better. We also have to have that introspection and understand and kind of analyze what our own behavior has been like and what's maybe driving that. Right? We all have good intentions. Good intentions pave the road to Hades, I've once heard. And so that's not a good look in my mind. So it's not about just having good intentions. It's about having a good action plan and following and executing on that action plan. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and be sure to share it with a friend if it provides some impact. Don't need to do anything, but you're going to do something specific and special. So with that, everyone, challenge you to go out there and have a great day. Until next time, see ya.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.